Oh, your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire. In darkest night, you are close like no other. I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire. In darkest night, you are close like no other. I know you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. Oh, this is my story. All my life you have been faithful. This is my song. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, surrender now, I give you everything. Your goodness is running, it keeps running after me. All my days, all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. The Lord our God is ever faithful. He's never changing through the ages. From this darkness, you will lead us, and forever we will sing. You're the Lord our God. The Lord our God is. He's faithful and never changes. Through the ages, from this darkness, you will lead us, and forever we'll sing the Lord. goes before me. I know who stands behind. The God of angel armies is always by my side. The one who reigns forever, he is a friend of mine. The God of angel armies is always by my side. Goes before me, stands behind. The God of angel armies is always by my side. He is a friend of mine. The God of angel armies is always by my side. The God of angel armies is always by my side. You're by our side. You've never left. We thank you, Jesus. We trust you, God. God, I look to you. I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you. You're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom. You know just what to do. I love you, Lord, and my strength. I love you, Lord, my mercy. And I love you, Lord, my rock. Forever all my days, I will love you, God. To God, we trust you in any season. You're there with us. We trust you, God. Come on, let's sing this together. Sing hallelujah. 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 With everything inside of me, yeah, I raise a hallelujah, and I will watch the darkness flee. I raise a hallelujah in the middle of the mystery, yeah, I raise a I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar. Oh, don't be anxious, you will arise. Death is defeated, the King is alive. Oh, I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar. working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop. Let's sing it out. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Praise the Lord who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Jesus Christ, my living
Well, welcome everyone, and welcome to Birmingham Bible Church Winning Wednesday. Here we are here in Birmingham, Alabama, but from wherever you are, thank you for joining us on today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is always our desire at 12 noon to bring you some valuable and thought-provoking information that is for your life and for your living. So welcome all of our viewers. If you are on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, thank you so much for joining us. So listen, grab your second cup of coffee, grab your lunch, and just get ready for some great information on today. Make sure you share this with someone. Do not keep this valuable and good information to yourself. Share this with your family, your friends, your coworkers, everybody you come in contact with. Share them about this information on today. And this month, the month of October, we have a lot of national observances. And at Birmingham Bible Church, we did observance, or we made people aware of breast cancer awareness, because we talked about that. We talked about domestic violence. That was a couple of weeks ago. And then we also talked about financial literacy. And so that was on last week. And so today we're going to talk about bullying. Bullying is also in the month of October. It is National Bullying Prevention Month. And so whoever instituted it, I believe, wanted us to be reminded the harm that bullying does, the dangers of it, the trauma that it can cause, not only now, but even years to come, and how those victims have to deal with it. And so as I was thinking about this topic, I was reminded back in the day when I was younger. Of course, we didn't call it bullying. I think the only thing I heard people do, I think it was called joning. And it was like, your mama's so fat, or your mama's so skinny, and everybody laughing. But, it was all in fun. However, it's not like that now. There is just a total different turnaround as far as when it comes to bullying. We have cell phones, we have emails. And so now if you get mad with somebody, you just tweet about it. You put it on Facebook, you blast them, and so, but all that stuff is still bullying. So today we want to learn more about this issue of bullying. And so we have a new guest on today on Winning Wednesday, and we are always looking for new faces to bring during this time, not only for the information, but so that you can promote and so into what they're doing. And so he knows about this topic firsthand. I was going through his website and just the story that he has behind why he's doing this. He is really a person who has turned his pain into a passion for helping others. And so his name is Robert Marshall. He is a speaker. He's an author. I think he's been on TV on CBS and TBN and other shows, and he can talk more about that. He is out of Chicago, Illinois. And so we are so excited to have Robert on today. Hello, Robert. How are you?
That microphone always gets us. Hey,
it does every time. How are you?
That microphone gets us every time. I'm excited to be on here today. How are you, first lady, woman of God? What up? I feel like I'm somebody today. I'm on this show. Yo.
That's right. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Oh. Well, listen, before we get started with your presentation, can you just tell us a little bit about your story as far as how you got placed on this journey?
Wow, that's a good question. So my name is Robert Marshall. I'm actually from a small country town called Brunswick, Georgia. Yeah, from
I know where that is. I'm from Valdosta. I know exactly where that is.
Hey, see, look, we cousins. So I grew up in a small town, Brunswick, Georgia, and I was a heavier kid, but I also was somebody who grew up. I didn't know my father, and I wasn't the epitome of what we would consider manly man, the general manly man, whatever. I did play sports. I really tried to kind of fit in, but it never seemed to work. And so I was a byproduct of being bullied. I was bullied from God knows when, I believe second grade, all the way up to high school. And it was just rough. It was rough. Kids could be so mean. But during that time, also, what they didn't know what was going on with me was that I was also a victim of sexual abuse. And so I, growing up without a father, mom working, doing what she can do to kind of provide. There were men who came in my life, adult men, who were pastors, who were preachers, who were trusted, who were teachers, men that were, supposedly safe, and wound up being predators. And so I had a total of about 9 abusers over my childhood life. And I was really looking for a father. I was really looking for help. And I really didn't know at that length of time that it was abuse. I didn't know that it was, I thought this was normal. I thought these, because I didn't have a point of reference. And this is, some men won't admit this, but it's the truth. Oftentimes young boys are initiated sexually by men or women, and they think it's an introduction to manhood, or because they get attention, or because they are seen as special or men, or initiation to their manhood, and don't realize that it's actually abuse. And so I went through sexual abuse, and I was sexually what I call, what a correct term for it was, I was groomed. So it's one thing that we have an instance, but my abuse lasted over a length of time. And that's when a child or someone is sexually groomed from a young age. It starts at a young age, and they kind of teach and train and groom that young person to be a sexual object, or sexually please them, until you get older. Oftentimes when you get older, they want nothing to do with you anymore because you're no longer a child. Mm-hmm. And so I've had my instances with that. And what started me on this journey was right after I moved to Chicago, went to school, and I was dating now my wife. I was my first year of marriage, and I didn't realize why I was dealing with so many internal things, so many internal conflicts. And it dawned on me that, Robert, you are a survivor. Like, you went through sexual, and it was not until I sat with a counselor, they were like, yo, you know that you were sexually abused. And I'm like, hey, it's kick. sexually abused. And then when I looked over that and I realized you're 30, 40 years old, I'm 9, 10 years old. Yeah. and a lot of men, especially men of color, we take on the guilt of that, we take on the shame of that, and we never have a space to really process it. And what we do as men, when things don't make sense, we fold it up, put it in our subconscious mind, put it away, and say, you know what, that's in my past, I'm not thinking about it anymore. But really what happens is it winds up having negative effects on your relationships, how you view the world, how you interact with people. A lot of men have trust issues. They may have, let me tell you how it manifests. If a man potentially has trust issues, it can be because they've experienced some form of sexual abuse or trauma that they either don't know, identify with. Also, men who are who have commitment issues, so they can't stay with one person. Oftentimes, a man, if he has experienced any form of sexual abuse or trauma, what he does is, depending upon who and how old his abuser was, if it was a male, what they'll do is they'll sleep with as many women partners as possible to prove to themselves that they're not gay or they're not this, and so they question themselves. Then you have men who do wind up in same-sex relationships and don't realize the core of their decisions because they were sexually abused or they were sexually violated, and that can be by male or female. And so I realized, First Lady, is that people, and this is what started me on this journey. Women have women's conferences, women have women fellowships, women have so many places. Matter of fact, even a lot of the social services are geared toward women and children. Ask me who has the highest percentage rate of suicide. Men. Tell me who has the highest percentage of people in prison. Men. So just by those indicators alone, if we have the highest percentage of suicide, if we have the highest suicide rates, the highest incarceration rates, and all of the majority of the social services are geared towards women, where do men go? Where do they go when they're hurting? Where do they go when they're broken? When do they go when they have trauma that they have never had the space to process? And so what happens is, because men don't have the tools, you have one extreme where men become violent, where men become perpetuators of what they've experienced because they've had no safe place to process. And so, but it's like trauma that is built up. So it builds up, they take a hit, keep taking the hit. One day they eventually pop. And when they pop, the effects of that can be catastrophic. Themselves, for their families. And I started seeing men, even who are incarcerated, I started seeing them through a different lens when I realized a lot of them are where they are. Number one, unjust law systems is unfair. We know that. But beyond that, is a lot of them are hurt and they don't know how to process. They don't have the language. They've never had a safe space to process what they experience. So they carry it on them all their lives, and also carry the weight of social expectations of what it means to be a man. They carry the weight of needing to have a job, needing to provide, needing to do all these things, but they never had learned or were given the skills to do these things. We look at the percentage of fatherlessness. I don't know what happened, but we know what happened between the 70s, 80s, and the 90s. That was kind of 3 decades of fatherlessness. And we are seeing the results of that drug abuse and all, everything that kind of took place in urban neighborhoods. And so what we have now, we have the fruit of that. We have fatherless men who are trying to be men, but never had a clear definition of what it meant to be a man, and the definition that what it meant to be a man either came from a woman or came from a broken man who had a fragmented understanding. So it's like a house. So the foundation of who they are is cracked. And when you put weight on a cracked foundation, the house eventually is going to fall. So I'm in this space because I know what it looks like to fall. I'm in this space because I want to help boys and men overcome adverse childhood experiences, adverse childhood and traumatic life experiences.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome.
So that I know you ain't asked all that, but that's
No, that's good, because your website talks about all of that and what your mission is to really reach all of those cracked foundations. You know, the people who are incarcerated, the men who are incarcerated. You know, you're trying to reach the young boys. So no, that's awesome. No, thank you for that.
First Lady, to be honest, it's a pipeline. It's a pipeline because if fragmented boys become broken men.
That's right.
And so if we have little boys who have all the traumatic life experiences, you're dumb, you're stupid, where's my daddy? My mama is dating 3-4 different people. You know, she's doing her own thing. She's trying to work. And they keep having these traumatic life experiences. They grow up with these things and they manifest them in their later years. So now we have fragmented boys who become broken men. It's hard to heal broken men. So what society does is heals them or locks them.
Wow. And I guess another conversation for another time would be how to even reach those particular men, because, you know, women, we're just geared to talk. Something wrong with us, we gonna talk to our girlfriend, we gonna talk, we gonna say it. But with some men, that's not the case. They may not want to talk, or maybe, you know, they don't have somebody to talk to. So, but we got to talk about that at some point to see how we can get men to talk and share. I know we're supposed to be talking about bullying. We're gonna talk about bullying in a minute, y'all.
I help. And for any man or woman that's watching that has a husband, a son, a nephew that's broken, let me tell you where that starts, everybody. This is where it starts. Women and little girls. So it starts at a young age when they're hurt. Prime example: a little girl falls and she starts crying. Regardless if she has a single mom or she has a father or a two-part family, what is going to happen? They're going to pick her up. They're going to nurture her wound. They're going to tell her it's going to be all right. They're at least going to give her some space to cry and process the trauma what she just experienced. And then she has the opportunity to let the moment pass. Boys, same child, that's a boy at a young age, is told he falls, same scar, same blood. Get up, boy.
Man up.
Man up. Don't cry. Wipe yourself off.
Cry.
You know what happens in that moment? We emotionally arrest and limit the growth of and we stunt the growth of them while they're little boys. Because what you have just said to him is that those array of expressions are not that those emotions are not validated. Those emotions, we send the message that that's a sign of weakness. That's what women do. So what happens is men never have the opportunity to explore the full extent of who they are as emotional beings. So then we don't talk about, we're taught then, you don't talk. You take it, you swallow it, you bear it. And what happens is we wind up pick that up. And what happens is it winds up poisoning us. And then we try to get in relationships. And let me help somebody who's in a relationship. The reason why your man can be sexually intimate with you, but won't talk to you, is because he's all the only expression or the only feelings that men have been able to express are when they're sexually aroused or when they're angry.
Mm.
So when those extents, he can, those extents are he's fully allowed to do that. But when it comes to his emotions, when it comes to him talking, he never had the chance to learn. So yeah, I know we ain't talking about that. That's what I do. That's what I. So I have events that help men and boys learn how to talk, process, and speak. Have a better time.
Awesome work that you're doing. What tell us about the subject of bullying. Tell us, let's get into that before we keep going in other areas.
This is cool. And to be honest, it all ties into each other, to be honest. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is cyberbullying specifically. Because bullying is not just, back in the day, bullying was kind of, like you said, this one and done thing where you would just kind of, you would get made fun of, or somebody would call you a name, somebody talk about your mama, and a couple people would laugh, and after a while, it would blow over, it would be over. But now, bullying is a much bigger thing. It's a much bigger thing because of now called cyberbullying. And cyberbullying is literally, well, let me give you the definition. Bullying is using strength, physical, social, or intellectual strength to intimidate someone, often used to get somebody to do something or act, or as a form of intimidation. So the definition of cyberbullying is using electronic communications to bully somebody. Basic definition. So oftentimes this term people are not familiar with because they just, it is what it is. Cyberbullying, what's that? Grandfather doesn't know what that is. And so what a grandfather thinks when cyberbullying is mentioned, he says, they think it's humorous, and they may say something like, I'm going to rough up your computer and pull its plug. But unfortunately, it's not a laughing matter. Unfortunately, cyberbullying is not so simple, and its consequences are anything but fun. Let me give you guys some statistics. 25% of teenagers have been a victim of cyberbullying last year. 10% of children over the age of 9 have been bullied online, and 33% of victims have been subjected to online threats. But the most frightening statistics are yet to come. 95% of teens who witness cyberbullying do nothing about it. 50% of people who are victims of cyberbullying never report it. And I want to just throw this out there. If you will witness a violent crime, oftentimes should be reported, but what happens is we wind up staying silent. And what happens is what we do now, we pull out our phones, we video it, and what happens with that person, it gets posted online, and that video continues to be played over and over again, and it becomes viral. So what happens is back in the day, you had a fight. After a while, it became he say, she say, or I remember when it happened. But now, it never goes away. Whatever you put on the internet, I don't care what you say. You can delete it. It is not deleted. Because you can't determine where it goes. You don't determine who sees it. Once you put it up, once you see it, it's in the algorithm. And the more hits it gets, the more people see it. So where can you get cyberbullying? You can get before I go there, I want to stress that it is very important to take this seriously. Because if you don't, it could be deadly. Because there are people who have literally killed themselves. So many young people have killed themselves because of various forms of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying can lead to stress. It can lead to unhappiness, depression, and even suicide. Suicide is the second leading cause of death amongst young people between the ages of 16 and 24. And homicide, listen, homicide is number 3. Homicide is number 3. Cyberbullying is getting worse, and it's used to be an online behavior. Cyberbullying used to be an online behavior with only online consequences, not anymore. So when we have beef online, it probably would have stayed online. But now we've seen so many videos. Matter of fact, anybody who's watching, I guarantee you've seen a video for the news because somebody said something on Facebook, then they go to their house, then they want to fight them, then they wind up stabbing them and killing them. That is the result of cyberbullying. And it's become so ingrained into our psyche that for many, it comes off as entertainment. If you watch let me say this, if you've ever watched a fight video on social media and a person has got beaten up, think about it from the person who got beat up. Now, them getting hit and traumatized is something that you are laughing and looking at for your life. And that person has to relive that moment for the rest of their life. They go to apply for a job, videos there. They try to get a loan for a house or business, videos still there. So cyberbullies are so imagine not one but 100 cyber stalkers after you. Cyberbullies who find out a person's real life identity can harass that person's parents, teachers, fellow students, co-workers. So there are people out there who are cyberbullies. They are trolls. They are out there, and that's what they do. In many cases, what happens is they will publish a person's information. If you have a cyber stalker, they will publish somebody's information, and they will put them on Front Street, and they will call them, they will harass them. They will find their jobs. They will go, and it can get really dangerous and scary. And so this is why it's imperative to also look at what information you put online, what information you share. Listen, don't ever put your real address online. Don't ever put your real phone number online. Don't ever put, any real personal information, never put it online, because you then open yourself for cyber stalking. How many of you have had your Facebooks hacked into? How many of you have had emails hacked into? How many of you had social media pages hacked into? That is cyberbullying, and that is cyber harassment. So the question is, if this happens in real life, somebody's stalking you or somebody's doing something to you, you probably can take legal action because you have physical proof. But the crazy thing about cyberbullying is our laws really haven't caught up to what happens in the world of the internet. Because our laws, a lot of times, now they're starting to change. Oftentimes, they don't include what happens in the internet world. So somebody's stalking you online. What are the police? You will say they were stalking you online. Do you have proof? So can you take legal action when somebody slanders you? When somebody slanders you, or somebody stalks you, or when somebody says something, a defamatory remark against you. So we'll get on social media and we'll talk about people. People talk about you, and that's a form of cyberbullying. And those slander is a liable crime, which can result in a civil suit. What is the possibility of somebody getting convicted of a post that they can take down. Sure, you can take the case, and so how serious is a judge going to take you when you said they talked about me on their Facebook page?
Right.
Because in this world, everybody has a microphone. Everybody has an experience. Everybody has a right to do what they do on their pages. So, yeah. And most people, and some people who have tried to go to court, they can try. But the fact is that going to court is very long, it's very expensive, and it's a difficult process. So in the USA, the victim often does not win because the laws protecting freedom of speech are invoked to defend the actions of the cyberbully. In many countries, the police have more important cases to investigate than they said something about me on Facebook.
Right. They have more pressing, I guess, more pressing matters. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about types of cyberbullying. There's many types. You have exclusion. So the people try to alienate you, they try to leave you out. Then you have peer pressure, where people try to push you to do something that you're not comfortable with. Then you have stalking, when people are on your pages, when people are constantly following you, constantly looking at your stuff, constantly DMing you, messaging, stalking. Physical bullying, where somebody physically tries to intimidate you. Blackmail, when somebody says, if you don't do this, I'm gonna put this out about you. Well, I'm gonna say this about you, and I'm gonna do this. Or digital character assassination. This is getting good. Where you have digital character assassination, where people try to post, let's say, especially if you have a business. And have you ever seen people go online and they try to blast people's businesses? They are horrible. Don't go there. This and this and this and this. And I get it, but you got to remember that comment's never going to go away. And though somebody may have made a mistake or had a bad day, now the rest of their existence is going to be defined by your words.
Uh-oh. Okay.
It's a tough cookie, but also real life threats. People, because at the end of the day, you got to remember, if you have, let's say we're at a restaurant and you have a bad experience at that restaurant with the waiter. That waiter is not the owner of that establishment. The manager is not even the owner of the establishment. And so the service that you would receive from a business owner versus somebody who's employed by a business owner is two totally different things. But now that person that owns that, and I'm out here for the entrepreneurs too. So for the person that owns that business or that entity, guess what? Now when they're trying to feed their family, your comment on Yelp hinders money from flowing their way when you had a bad experience with somebody who probably just worked there part-time, had no real ties to that company. And now when people want to go there, they may look up what it is online, how was the experience, and it said it was a horrible experience. No, you had a horrible waiter. You may even had a horrible chef. But is that and I know the owner is ultimately responsible, but you don't give the owner or that person the opportunity to make it right. And even if they still make it right, that comment is still there. Because we don't ever go back and post how they fixed it. I'm out here for the entrepreneurs. So exclusion.
Sure, right. Go ahead.
Cyberbully tries to alienate your friends or make your peer group mock or hate you, leaving you alone. Many cyberbullies will not stop with exclusion. Once somebody has been excluded, the cyberbully often moves on to more serious attacks. Peer pressure. The cyberbully tries to get you to do or say something or say things that you don't want to do, or say by telling you that all the other people do it, or by suggesting that you won't fit in. Ironically, peer pressure is often used by cyberbullies to get people to help them bully other people. Misery loves company. Stalking. The cyberbully follows you on all your social media and gives you unwanted attention. And then it can be rather creepy. Actually, this form of cyberbullying is quite common among adults as well. Let me say to all my beautiful sisters out there, I'm not telling you what not to post, but our grandmothers used to say, if it ain't for sale, take down the sign.
Say that again.
If it ain't for sale,
Right.
take down the sign.
That's
And
right.
I'm not saying you deserve it. You can put whatever you want on your pages. But what happens is when you do that, you invite a certain caliber of men or male or female to stalk you. When you post pictures of your boobs, your butt, your thighs, your everything up there, yo, it's enticing for people who don't know how to engage with that type of content. And they'll give you unwanted attention. All attention is not good attention.
That's right.
And then if you try to go to police, the police will be like, well, you up here shaking your tail on social media with like, so yeah. Now, I'm not saying, ladies, do your thing. I'm a feminist and a womanist, so I believe in women being empowered. So do you, but I'm just letting you know, you got to be ready for what comes with all of that, the good attention and the negative attention. And some people have really disappeared and died because of stalking and because of what they put out there.
Listen, I fully agree with what you just said. Fully agree with it. You ain't got to dress it up, but you're right. Some of us just show too much stuff, and it's attracting, and you think it's cute, you think it's nice, but it's not. And you're right. You're inviting unwanted attention. You're so right.
Yeah, amen. So you're right. Physical bullying. If the cyberbully knows you in real life, he or she can combine cyberbullying with physical or social bullying. I know where you live, and when you least expect it, I can be here. So you better not annoy me, or you better not say that. You better not do that. So that's an even more dangerous form. The cyberbully or blackmail. The cyberbully threatens to reveal confidential information about you that would be embarrassing or even harmful to you, your family, or your friends. Although in some cases the information is obtained through hacking, usually it's obtained directly from the victim. This can be an escalation of some of the previous types of cyberbullying. Let me talk about this first, lady. So I'm gonna talk about this part right here because we have a mutual friend who invited us, who together. So if you like him, then I think I can go here. All right. So blackmail, watch who you send nudes to. I'm gonna say that again. Watch. It makes no sense to me. Now, if you married, you do your thing. But if you have no, if you out here and you having sex, okay, that's between you and God and that person. Oftentimes blackmail happens with stars, with husbands, with wives, because you get in a moment, you get hot and bothered, then y'all bring out those cell phones and y'all start taking pictures and videos, or sometimes people are taking videos and pictures of you before. You don't even know that they're doing it. But y'all, we got to be safe out here because this is how blackmail often happens. Somebody how many blog sites? Man, there was a famous blogger who was a church blogger, and he would get all these videos of all these people doing all types of crazy stuff who were pastors, bishops, and he would have videos back it up. And in my head, I'm like, who in the world is taking videos? Like, no, man. Before I got married, I'm like, when I walk into the room, I made sure that there was no video, there was no cell phone. Cell phones was left outside of the door. I'm just saying, I figure I could go there.
Yes, sir.
So even if it's people you like don't put yourself out there because then you give them leverage. And especially if they're not married. If you ain't married to that person, now if you're married, do you? That's a whole different story. But if you are sexually involved with somebody and y'all have no commitment to each other, you make them mad, then you do something or the relationship don't work out. Now they have those images of you forever. And they use it against you to leverage. And once they're out there, you never know where they go. I've known people who go into job interviews, did not get the job because their images were put out or videos were put out. And once those videos are out there, yeah. So just watch out for this. Let me give y'all a word of advice. Y'all gonna be doing the freaky, make sure the phones are outside. Like make sure there's no, room, there's no cameras in the room, because you never know who that person is, how that relationship's gonna turn out. So protect yourself, right? Digital character assassination. This is the cyberbullying when they stop at nothing to destroy as much of your virtual identity as possible, and usually hopes to destroy your real life as well. This type of cyberbullying is serious because also it's common among adults, and in many cases the goal is to get you fired from your job or to make you lose your family, your marriage, or whatever. It comes with a price. So digital character assassination. This happens when people consistently put out bad information about you. So if they Google your name, that information comes out. If on social media, they'll use hashtags, boom, then it can become viral. So digital character assassination. And even trolling. The art, and what trolling is, the art of, you ever heard the term called a trolling, or they're a troll? A troll is the art of deliberately, cleverly, and secretly getting people angry, usually via the internet using dialogue. Trolling does not mean just making rude remarks. Shouting swear words at someone doesn't count as trolling. It's just flaming and it's funny. Spam isn't trolling, but it's lame. And if it is a form of cyberbullying, if the victim gets angry, doesn't that mean you're a cyberbully? So trolling is a form of cyberbullying. So when people just make comment, whatever they put in the comment section, and they just trying to poke at you, they're just trying to get you to respond outside of your character. And regardless, and the best thing is to not respond. Because even though you may respond in a message, then they'll screenshot that message, post that message, and then it doesn't even matter. So if you have a troll, it's best not even respond. So anyway, what I want to do, so that's cyberbullying. So that's my little, I think I've given enough information about cyberbullying and how to kind of watch out for it and how to
This was awesome. This was good. Let me ask you a question. We have children now that have cell phones. How can we, and we did a back to school virtual rally. We had a IT lady from a school system talk to the parents about, kids on the cell phones and how we really need to be monitoring the cell phones. Can you give us some advice on even what to look for if our children are the bully or if they are being bullied on the cyberspace?
So the best thing to do first is look at your child's behavior. Look how they're acting. If one day they're cool and you constantly see they're not themselves, as parents, we know when something is going on. And they may tell you nothing, but continue to push. Continue to push. You can also track what happens in your children's phone. So you can go to your company, your cell phone provider, and say, hey, I have this line. How do I look at what's going on this phone? You can do that as well. You can see what they've been, you can see what site they're on, you can see, all that stuff. So technology is really good. And there's actually a place where you can actually shut down their phones at a certain time where they can't do anything. But you need to go to your cell phone provider and tell them that you want to figure out how you can do these things. Stay aware. When children get older, And I have a little, I'm an educator by trade. When children get older, your relationship as a parent has to evolve as they grow. And I know, a lot of us are not, I'm not my child's friend, but you need to have an element where your child can at least talk to you and not feel like you about to bust them upside their head because they need something wrong. Because as they get older and when they get into that teenage year, it's a hard place to walk, but you have to have you have to at least create a safe word where your child can tell you and they can say, all right, mom, like bananas. And then you already know when they say that word, whatever come out their mouth, you gotta take off that mama bear, that daddy bear hat and become part of not their friend, but you have to, you gotta almost be friendly so that you can hear what they're going through. Because guess what? If your kids don't talk to you, they're talking to somebody else. And you don't know who that person is that they're talking to. And it just might be a predator. So you got to put down, I'm gonna beat you over that boy. Like when they get older, you got to chill out and have a safe space where they can say, and that's what I would say to you, I would encourage you, develop a safe word. Tell your kid, listen, if you say this word, whatever that word is, help, banana, tangerine, or whatever it is, and they say that word, you automatically know, and they know that you are taking off that mom and their bear hat, and the consequences of there won't be immediate consequences for their actions. So yeah.
I like that. I like that. And another question I have, just in terms of bullying in itself, how can we protect ourselves from being bullied? And this is, whatever, this is cyberbullying, this is, in the school system, on the job, because I'm sure bullies target certain people. Like you said, when you were growing up, you said you were, slightly overweight. So they like, you know what, let's target him because, he looks like he's defenseless, he can't protect himself. How can adults and children protect themselves against those who are bullies in any aspect, any area?
First, realize people who are bullies often are hurting themselves. They're hurting themselves and they feel inadequate themselves. And so they're making fun of you because they may be jealous of you. They may make you, they may be using you as a deflection method because they don't want to be made fun of, or you have something that they want. And so, and they don't have the means to give it. So oftentimes you got to look at it for what it is. How you can protect yourself. To be honest, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of the people, the type of people that are around you, making sure that you feel safe, have a clear understanding, clear communication with your kids. Our kids are in school, so we can't really protect them at all times, but we have to learn how to teach. We have to teach them how to defend themselves verbally, and sometimes you got to teach them how to throw hands. But also be aware of the laws. The block button is a great thing. Though you block them, it doesn't stop them from talking about you. But it does, and another major thing is the report button. Facebook and social media, every platform has a report button. So if you see something, you experience something, you can report it, and they can't stop you from reporting. So yeah.
Awesome. This was wonderful. Well, Robert, tell us tell everybody about your website, just kind of a little bit of what you do, your books or podcasts, how they can connect with you. Just tell us a little bit. Tell us how we can order from you, all that good stuff. Reach out to.
So you can go to my website. It's roberthmarshall.com. roberthmarshall.com. You can go there. I've written a number of books. Right now, if you go today, specifically because I'm on with First Lady Hingham. Listen, because I'm on this today, listen, I have a special for you guys who are going around. I will bless you with a free copy of my book, Just Believe. You can go to my website, roberthmarshall.com/book. Enter your email and you'll get a free digital download of this book. Just because I'm on here with First Plate now,
Oh,
I'm excited and I'm going to be on this show. It's free for you, so go on there, roberthmarshall.com/book, and you can get a free download of a free download copy of my book. Just believe it's available in English and in Spanish. So get it in English, get it in Espanol. All right. But there's another book that I've written called Little Brown Boy. This is kind of my top selling book. It's a children's book that speaks to empower little brown boys to be bold, be strong, be courageous, and be proud of the skin that they're. So yeah, it meets all the social emotional learning tenets in education. So get it for your child's school, get it for your church, get it for all of them. Yeah, right.
awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today, Robert. This has been a great conversation, very enlightening. We're going to share it with others as we get through with this broadcast. We always share it again, and then we're also going to talk to the children of our church just about this topic. And so thank you so much for that. Thank you for all of our viewers. And definitely getting that book. I'm getting the book. The topic, the title itself was encouraging for me, because I'm like, you know what, I don't know of any books about little brown boys. I mean, I've seen a lot about girls, like you say, but not the little brown boys. And so we are definitely going to get that. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you, social media family, for joining us. This is Robert Marshall. Please make sure you reach out to him. His website is robertmarshall.com.
Robert H. Marshall.
roberthmarshall.com. I've actually perused the website, so please do that. Please support him. I believe you have a conference. We were talking a little bit. You have a conference this weekend.
So yeah, actually, if you don't mind, I will share that really quickly.
Okay.
I have a conference this weekend coming up that is I have a conference coming up for survivors of sexual trauma. And so part of what I do is I create spaces for people. I create spaces for people who experience any form of sexual trauma to pursue their healing and their wholeness. So what you're looking at right now, I'm putting out a book next year, and a documentary about stories of male survivors, men who have survived sexual trauma. And so this weekend right here in Chicago, we have this event, and as you see on the flyer, there are 15 men who have stories of how they've overcome sexual abuse and sexual trauma. And so this is a conversation. As you see, we have some amazing speakers. There are. This is not church. We ain't gonna preach. There's no preaching there. It's conversation. So all the people that you see are flying in from all over the country to have this important dialogue of what it means to be a survivor of sexual trauma. So this is a co-ed conversation. If you can get to Chicago, go to my other website, which is ironmaninc.com/events. It's ironmaninc.com/events. And listen, I haven't done this before, and First Lady Pam, I don't know if I'm in trouble for this, but we're shooting a documentary this week, and this is I'm not gonna lie, this is an expensive project. This is an expensive project. This project is costing me anywhere up to $10,000 right now. So if you say, hey Rob, I can't make it, if you want to sow a seed, that seed is going towards helping survivors of sexual trauma overcome their experiences. And so if you want to sow a seed, this is something that's near and dear to my heart, because we want to create a safe place. And this is a conversation for all survivors of sexual trauma and the people who love them. So even if you're not someone who's experienced it, I guarantee you somebody who's close to you has.
Yes, well, we are definitely going to sow a seed. Birmingham Bible Church is going to sow one. Is there a Cash App, or do we go to the iammaninc.com events?
So you can do Cash App. You can do Cash App or you can do website, but Cash App is easy for a lot of people. It's at Glory One, at GLORY
At Glory, that's it.
at Glory One.
Like Glory One, the number one. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's Cash App. Or you can go on the website and there's a PayPal. But
Okay.
either way, like I said, this project is costing $10,000. And since I'm talking to First Lady, let me tell you, I flew all these people here. They're all coming, like all of them here. I'm putting all of them up. I'm feeding all of them. It's a huge ordeal. I'm excited, but you know what? Maybe First Lady, it has to happen. It
Mhm.
has to happen. And I feel like this is a call of God to do this. And I'm excited about how many lives we can change.
I am too. And make sure at some point you include in there, and maybe not this conference, how we as women can help the men who have experience. Because a lot of times, like you said, we see the anger or whatever, but we don't know what's causing it. And yeah, so at some point, deal with that too. That'd be awesome.
That's actually one of the questions. We
Oh,
want a conversation because there are a lot of, let me say this, boys who experience sexual abuse at a young age, or even as adults, they don't know how to process that. But that same little boy who's experienced sexual trauma that grows up, he becomes somebody's wife, husband. He becomes somebody's uncle. He becomes somebody's dad. And when that type of trauma is undealt with, it creates issues. And so this is why this is a co-ed event, because we want to have a healthy conversation amongst all survivors of sexual
yeah.
and the people that love them.
Yes, awesome. This is wonderful. So listen, people, we need to make sure we sow into this event. Robert he's doing great things in Chicago, and it's just gonna filter, I'm sure, through the rest of the world. So listen, the Cash App is Glory, and then at Glory, and then the number one. So make sure y'all sow into this great event. Birmingham Bible Church definitely is. And so make sure we're going to put that out there in our chat room as well. So Robert, we're gonna go through a few church announcements, but hang tight. I still want you to say something at the very end before we dismiss. Oh, let me see. Hold on 1 second. All right, so what we'll do, so listen, Birmingham Bible Church, of course, this is a Winning Wednesday segment. You heard from Robert. This was great information on bullying, so make sure you share this information with others. Don't forget, for those of you who are students, if you are parents, we have a free scholarship seminar that is coming up. If you want to know how to get money for school, for your student, for yourself, there is free money out there. Miss Shada Spikes is going to be doing this for us the first weekend in November. That is November the 6th. Please email me at ladypam@tcowi.org if you want to be a part of this. It's going to be November the 6th. That's a Saturday at 12 noon. And then the whole month of November, we are celebrating 7 years of ministry, Birmingham Bible Church here in Birmingham, Alabama. Up until this point, it is the Lord who has helped us. That is our theme this year, and it is our theme every year. So, of course, every Sunday in November, we are going to have guest speakers. We're going to have guest psalmists that are going to come, that's going to minister to us virtually. On that second Sunday, we're going to do a huge giveaway. That is our drive-up service. So it's not the first Sunday in November, the second Sunday in November, we are having a huge giveaway. We're giving away turkeys. We're giving away some fresh produce. We're not going to give too much of that away, but it's first come, first serve. That's the second Sunday in November, November the 14th at 9 a.m. We're going to be in the parking lot of C.W. Hayes School. So make sure you are there early to get a good parking space. So we are doing that as well. Of course, we're doing some great things in the month of November. We're going to have a totally different lineup. We have things for our trick-or-treaters on this Saturday. We're having a drive-by, so the candy mobile is coming to your home to drop you off some candy. So that's our way of giving back And so thank you so much, everyone who gives to Birmingham Bible Church. Thank you for your tithes, your offerings, your gifts. It goes towards projects like giving away the turkeys. It goes toward the 11 Compassion International Children that we have. It goes toward our land, our future, hoping to build some land debt-free, because that is what we're all about, is making sure that we are fiscally responsible with the money that you give us, so that we can continue to be a blessing to others. And so thank you so much for that. And so we are going to dismiss. Of course, our website is bhambc.org, but we're going to dismiss. And I want Robert to come on and just make sure he give us a few other just things to take away, just some tidbits, just something to conclude us all together.
All right. Thank you, First Lady. I feel like I'm in church. We in church today. So listen, in all hearts and minds are clear. No, I'm excited. Listen, cyberbullying is very important, and it can be deadly. So if you have been a victim of cyberbullying, listen, you can report it. Start reporting those things. Take it seriously. If you look out for signs of cyberbullying amongst your kids, be the best way for a parent to be involved to see if their child is being cyberbullied is being involved in that child's life, being present with them, being present with their friends. Do their friends know you? Are you the parent that your kids' your kids' friends know you as mama or daddy? Like, you need to be that person to be involved. I'm excited. Listen, I just create spaces for people to pursue wholeness, to begin their journey to wholeness. I have a saying that healing is the journey, wholeness is the destination. We all get there at different times, at different places in our life, but you may not get to wholeness today, but healing takes place one decision and one step at a time. You don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to be locked up by your own shame. It's not your fault. It's not on you. God, oftentimes people ask, where was God when all this stuff was happening to me? And listen, let me tell you, God, it is not God's fault. When it happened to you, somebody used their free will to harm you. And so God does not make us robots. So people have free will to do what they want. What can I tell you that God is concerned about the things that concern you? You are his child. He loves you much. Let me tell you what the Bible says. The Bible said God loves you so much that, number one, he gave his son to die for you. God loves you so much that the Bible says he knows the number of hairs that's on your head. God loves you so much that the Bible says if he feeds the birds, if he feeds and he provides for everybody else, how much more will he provide for you? God is concerned about the things that are concerning you. And so God is just as heartbroken because you are his son, you are his daughter. He is heartbroken over your brokenness. But what he wants to do, like the man with the leper hand, he says, it's in your hand. God cannot heal what you're trying to hide. So you got to come out, you got to talk about it, go see a therapist, go see a counselor, talk to your pastor, talk to your first lady, join a group, and start dealing and talking with the things. My brother, that thing does not have to go in your marriage. It does not have to go in your family. You can heal, and there is, my sister, a place called wholeness. All right, guys, I'm Robert Marshall. Watch me at Robert, catch me at roberthmarshall.com. Go get your free book. Get your free book today, roberthmarshall.com. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. And thank you everyone for joining us here on today. This is another segment of Winning Wednesday. We are all about educating you, enlightening you, empowering you in the things that will help you on your journey here on this earth. So until next time, we will see you next Wednesday. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you stay sane. And please stay sanitized. Love y'all. Thank you, Robert. Awesome.